Well, basically, if it moves, I'll Reiki it.
I mean, she loved it. She slept for like 3 hours, didn't she? She's just like enjoying all the energy.
Reiki just gives you that serious calmness and focus and the capacity to think in the now.
Reiki at times can be your mate, yeah, and you know he's there, and you can just tap into him when you need to. So it's a good friend to have.
It was kind of like a sort of door opening. You realise the difference and the energies and things that are around you that have been there the whole time, and you just didn't realise.
Reiki is a beautiful thing to do because it forces that person to stop.
If it moves, I'll Reiki. Stand still, I'm Reikiing you. It's almost life-changing, really, because you sort of take on a different persona. You really do. Well, at least in my personal experience, I feel like I've taken on a different persona, much calmer, more clarity of mind and ability to do a lot more in half the time, because the mind is so much clearer. And there's that wonderful feeling of helping others with it, because when I do my hypnosis, I'll incorporate Reiki into that as well.
Even in the hospital, actually, when I had her, it was a really like difficult birth experience. And they come round to the babies and they do like a heel prick test, like a blood test from their heel. And like Phoebe was really awake at the time when the nurses came round, and they were like, oh, she's going to get really upset, just so you know. And I decided to give her Reiki when they were doing it, and she didn't cry at all. And the nurses were just, the midwives were like, oh my goodness, like, I can't believe that she's just completely unfazed.
I am the classic Tasmanian dust devil, Sonic the Hedgehog, running around on fast forward all the time, overthinking, just overdoing, people pleasing. I have had, and you said the technology blips, and now I just stop. And I just, as I do the Reiki, because immediately it just brings you to the present. And while everybody talks about the present, it really does work.
Before the meeting starts, I will connect to Reiki, and I will just fill my room with Reiki. I even fill the iPad or the laptop with Reiki before the meeting. But also as well, if it's a presentation that I'm giving, then I might focus on giving myself Reiki around the throat chakra. So yeah, and even when I was doing these meetings prior to lockdown and remote working, if I was in a meeting room, I would get there earlier and I would Reiki the room.
And where I suffer from a chronic condition myself, I found that the Reiki was so helpful, and the fact that I can help other people makes me feel that I'm using it for a good purpose as well.
It forces you to stop, and it becomes meditative. It becomes where you have to switch everything off. You're in silence most of the time. And that is obviously another benefit.
Yeah, that warm fuzzy sensation that some of my clients get, they say it just feels either very warm, very tingly, very, very cool, or just nice. It's a moment to disappear somewhere, and they don't know where. They just lie there, disappear wherever they want to be. Now and again, they'll get these very odd sensations within, and they'll go, "What's going on?" You say, "No, relax, calm down. It's absolutely fine." But yeah, it is a really nice add-on to what I do.
The Reiki training and having that in my life has really like not only benefited my life, but like opened up like new opportunities to it as well, if that makes sense. You know when you're just feeling more like centered and more grounded, and just more like synchronicities kind of happen.
I also find it very powerful if I want something to go right, a situation, a meeting, an encounter, whatever it is. I do Reiki before I start coaching with my clients. I send them distance Reiki. It just calms people down. It gives them focus. And the healing alone, I've done Reiki healing with people with many different ailments. Doctors, surgeons have said, I don't know what you're doing, but whatever it is, this is phenomenal. You're healing the injury, the operation, whatever it is. Hugely powerful, Christina. And I'll be ever so grateful for you for a lifetime for what you've taught me.
Every morning now, without fail, I have a set routine. I retired in July of this year from the police service, and I was very conscious of the fact that I didn't want to end up just letting my days go by. In other words, just getting up when I felt like it. So I have a regime. I'll be up no later than 8 o'clock in the morning. I will come into this room here. I'll do a quick set of exercises, and then I'll do my Hatsu Reiho, my, building my Reiki strength. And I sit down there, I grab my energy, and I just allow that to flow through me, and I find that it just makes my Reiki all the more stronger, and I feel better for it. So yeah, I definitely incorporate that into my life, and of course I use it on my family as well. I've done it with friends. Everybody wants a piece of it, they really do, and it's really, really been good for my daughter, who hasn't been very well. Although it's important to know that with Reiki, although you may, as I think it was you that said it, when you walk in with a sore toe, you may still walk out with a sore toe, but Reiki knows where it really does need to go and what it needs to deal with. So it does have a far-reaching effect, and it certainly has for me. Every day, without fail, I do my Reiki meditations, as it were. Yeah, really enjoy it.
Ways to connect with someone without physically being right next to them. That actually, on the course, that was the thing about it that blew my mind the most. I think, like, distant Reiki, still does. I've had it a few times now where my daughter's sort of unsettled upstairs, and it hasn't worked every time, but tested it where I've connected to her without going upstairs to see what happens. Yeah, I think for me that's the biggest proof of Reiki.
So I often think when somebody says, do you take a few deep breaths, it can either send you into a spiral of, oh, here we go again, this mindfulness, whatever. But I think just silently sending energy healing to somebody, it doesn't do them any harm. It only just, you said, brings a calmness and an awareness. Because as you said, and brought it up there again, perspective. It's all about our perspective. And if you can come to any situation, be it addiction, be it a work issue, be it bullying, any issue, any situation, if you can just look at it from a different perspective.
I'm actually quite spiritual, so I've always had a feeling that there is something out there. I know that we are energy, energy flows everywhere, but the thing that I wasn't able to do was harness that energy or understand how it worked around me. So I wasn't skeptical so much, I just didn't know how to handle it. It certainly, I did need to do Reiki, do the Reiki course in order to learn that you can see somebody's aura, you can move you can find all sorts of weird and wonderful things around yourself if you know how to harness it. And the terrible thing is, it's such a natural thing. We've all got that power, for want of a better term, and we just the masses just don't understand and know about it, which is a real shame.
Before doing it, if I'm honest, I was probably like a bit of a cynic, like, until it came into my life. So I love having proof, and Phoebe obviously has no understanding, no concept of like Reiki, what it is and everything. It's not like, I sometimes used to question for myself, like, oh, is it just that I thought it was going to work, so it did, like getting in my head about it. But the evidence with Phoebe is really clear, because she doesn't have that thought process. When it comes to like my professional life, I tend to have a lot of doubts, a lot of worries, a lot of like feeling like I can't do something. So yeah, like that principle of do not worry, I think, like, rather than like using it exactly for my professional life, it's just a way to calm me down, if that makes sense, and like bring me back to the present moment, so that I can, yeah, like let the fears kind of subside a bit before being able to, yeah. I think so often in my life I've allowed like doubts and fears and insecurities to hold me back. So again, I think in terms of my professional life, just being able to have a tool to be able to like, yeah, quieten that.